Hello everybody, welcome to my first YouTube video. Of course, I'm super excited to do this and I've kind of had it on my mind for a while. So for my first YouTube video, I kind of want to talk about Stella and her role in Helluva Boss. It's kind of like a rant I've wanted to go on for a little while. I'm a big fan of evil women, and what better time to do this than Pride Month? It kind of pissed me off, honestly, like jumping straight in, how much potential Stella had that the Helluverse team just didn't use. And that becomes readily apparent when her brother is introduced. It's insane how he has all this costuming and theming, and Stella basically has none. When you look at her, you can't tell any specific motifs. You can't tell what kind of ability she has, or you can barely tell her personality, really, if you see like a still image of her, like no expressionless, like just the character turnaround. I would not be able to tell her personality. And that's a problem when you're making characters. So I decided to give her more of like a, regal. I took inspiration from like those dresses that kind of have like the big back on them and like the corsets, really to give her more of like a woman in power type of vibe. I feel like it makes her more threatening, to look a little bit more put together. Right now with her outfit, she's not screaming like evil bitch wife to me. And that's kind of like what they want her to be, is like the evil wife that can't be loved or shows no love, and I don't really get that from her current design. So I'm making her color scheme a bit more like Andrelphus. Because, I mean, look at this man. Look when they try to make him threatening, how his powers act up and flare out. And they don't really do that for her. Like, look at this clip. She's pissed off. She's mad. She's angry, and nothing. There's no kind of icing, no kind of lashing out of abilities, no nothing. So I decided to make her, like, Arctic Night themed to kind of go along with, like, Stolas' theme of, like, the stars. So she's got like the glacial coolness to make her more of like a frigid, cold, unfeeling wife that's like really hard to love because she can't relate, she doesn't emote. Otherwise, like, she wouldn't be very present for her family in terms of like motherly or wife relations. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let me explain the choices I made. I already said I made her like Arctic Night themed, since Andrelphus has ice powers. I would give those to her, and also with a little bit more star theming for her to be like the perfect match, quote unquote, for Stolas to produce an heir. I gave her like an upside down crown on her head to represent the rocky relationship between her and Stolas. The 3 feathers sticking out in the back for the peacock crown. She's like more of a bitter, the quote unquote frigid bitch. So I gave her more like slick backed hair, also to kind of represent that she's a little bit more put together. Because kind of comparing the two of them now, Andrelphus looks way more put together than Stella does, when she's supposed to be the Goetia wife. So here I'm gonna go into a little edit speed paint where I kind of made an edit of Stella with like my design. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about how I'd rewrite kind of what happened. I think her writing in the beginning of the series is fine. I really have no problem with it, which is, kind of contrary, I guess, to like what I've been saying. But I feel like once Andrelphus gets introduced, Stella has like no agency. She's not very threatening, and I feel like that could be very easily changed because, like, what do they say, like, hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. And she was cheated on, and she's entitled, and like there's so much you could do with like a narcissistic, evil, unfeeling wife. And they show it when she's at this cocktail party and she's like mocking him, the emotional like abuse of it all, which is like a good start. But if we're writing real villains here, that's not enough. And it kind of kills me how they set her up to be like the big threat back in the beginning when she told Stolas, "You'll pay for it. You're paid for cheating on me." And then her brother comes in and they just give all the agency to him. Give him a better design, give him more almost like more plot. And it's like, why even introduce Stella and have her around just to, like, I guess, woobify Stolas? But, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, they had such good parallels with the other two women that they introduced that both got cheated on, and they both tried to get revenge on their husbands. But when it comes to Stella, they make another man the center of this revenge plot. And it kind of kills me because even in the trial episode where they introduce Visago, even he has more theming and abilities and stuff than Stella does. And it's like, why do they hate women? And I know people have said it before, but it's like, I know Stella's an evil, unfailing bitch, and I'm not trying to, like, distract from that because I love evil women. That's what I'm saying. That's what my whole issue is like, you have a woman who was made to get married, a woman who resents her husband, a woman who never wanted a kid. Like, she's mad, she's angry, and the best they could do is to push her aside and let her brother take the wheel. And the fact that he calls her stupid, ignorant, like, stupid woman, it's kind of maddening because she had the potential to be such a great villain. And instead, they'd rather focus on the weird incest guy. Like, she is a woman who was forced into marriage, forced to have a kid, and her brother's, like, weirdly incestuous towards her, and she obviously doesn't like it. And on top of that, she was cheated on and publicly humiliated. Like, you're just gonna squander all that to introduce some other character that we really don't know? It's insane to me. So that's my rant. That's what I'm ending on. And thanks for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below and I'll try to get to them. First time doing this, so please be nice.